Alright, so just came back from an early screening of, well, I guess you could say early preview of the Victor Frankenstein movie. The name got away from me. Saw this with my dad tonight, and yeah. You know, it's not that I think it's a bad film, because it's not. I actually think it's not that bad of a film. But my dad and I talked about this on the way home, and he looked at me and said, I think we would have liked it better if if it was a matinee. Would have feel like we got our money's worth. So I will say right out the gate that yes, I think this is a good film. The actors are superb with what they're given. I think Max Brooks did a fine job with the writing. There are some complaints here and there. I feel like there are some moments in here that I feel like, did we really need that? Like, no, that's the biggest problem with this film, is that you look at this, there's some points of the film where you're just like, did we need that? Did we really need that? But yeah, what did I want to say with this, with the rest of the film? All in all, it is a good film. The actors in here are great. There's also a great moment with Charles Dance in here. I don't want to spoil that. But you kind of figure out who he's going to play early on. James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe as Frankenstein and Igor, respectively, are nothing short of amazing. They're great. I love the new origin for Igor, and how in a lot of the trailers you see him as like this young Star Wars, upward standing man. But yes, you do see him as the hunchback kind of form. They do explain it through science. That's the big thing with this film, is that they use frickin' science to explain everything. They use science to do a lot of the explanation, as well as the how the monster's made, how it's crap. What's the word I'm looking for here? How it moves. They even use a little creature, and the word homunculus is used, and no sign of alchemy in sight. If you caught that reference, good on ya. But no, it was. I like the science, kind of steampunky pseudoscience thrown into this. So I really did enjoy that. Again, James McAvoy as Victor Frankenstein, he is great with what he's given. He has a lot of energy to it. It's kind of funny, he almost comes off like the 12th Doctor, where he's this very eccentric, very almost alien kind of person to everyone around him. And he's just hamming it up. You can clearly see that he is enjoying the ever-loving shit out of doing this. He doesn't get to be stoic. He does get some stoic moments, and there's actually some great emotional scenes in here. I don't think I could spoil this film for you, because really, you know the story. So there might be some minor spoilers here and there throughout this review, but yeah. There's a great scene where Victor is facing with the monster, his creation, and in the film, there's this great moment where he is just, he's awestruck by the monster, and then he just breaks down, realizing, oh God, what have I created? And man, McAvoy just sells it. He is so great there. There's other great moments with him throughout this film where he's, he can be eccentric, he can be almost psychotic at points, and it just really snaps in, he can just snap in between all of them. I think he does a really excellent performance here. Daniel Radcliffe as Igor, and going back to him, I think he's great. Even though I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, I gotta admit, Daniel Radcliffe, it's nice to see you get work after Harry Potter, and I think this is some of your best. I think this is some really great work. I never saw The Woman in Black, and I know he's done some other things like stage shows and whatnot, but I think he's really great. Again, he really plays off McAvoy, and they have some great chemistry. You can really feel the energy. It's almost like watching the Doctor and one of his companions at some point. It almost feels like, I want to say, it almost makes you think of Troughton and Jamie, the second Doctor and Jamie together, but he wasn't this psychotic. So, yeah. Among other characters that are in here, Andrew Scott's character of Roger Turpin, this religious investigator, who is just borderline, just out of his frickin' mind. And it really I really like the dichotomy between him and Frankenstein, where Turpin is very obsessed with destroying Frankenstein, but not for the sake of the law, but for religion, because after his wife died, he has just gone balls to the wall religious, and he really does. He's not doing this in the name of the law. He's doing this because God, what you're doing is an abomination before Earth and God themselves. You need to be stopped. Let me talk. There's also a appearance of Mark Gatiss. By the way, there's also, Mark Gatiss is in this film. I don't want to say where, but you got to look for him. Yeah, so you got to really look for Mark Gatiss. Who else did I want to say? Don't I want to mention? Oh yeah, the actress who played Lorelei. She's pointless. Like, the whole thing with Igor's love interest between her, this acrobat Lorelei, and Igor, just felt like it was just shoehorned in there, and it took up a lot of scenes. I'm not even gonna lie, it took up so much time. Like, there are some moments just between them where I'm like, I don't care, go back to the monster. And that's the thing. You only see Victor's prototype monster, this little homunculus chimpanzee thing, and of course the other monster which shows up in the final part of the film. Not to say those scenes are bad, they're actually very intense, and there's some great horror scenes between both monsters respectively. But the main thing is that if you're looking for like a big creature, if you're looking for like a gigantic creature feature, this is not the film. This is not Frankenstein's Monsters movie. This is a movie all about Victor Frankenstein. This is about his life and his kind of like dissension into madness through the eyes of Igor. That's really what it is that even though it's Igor, and this movie's more about Igor and Victor's relationship as friends and deteriorating throughout the time, rather than more of the this is less about the monster and more about them. So you really have to put that in your head going into this film. If you were if you were expecting another type thing, you're not going to get that. There are some great nods to the original film as well as the Mary Shelley book. There's a great little line from Igor. I won't spoil it. There's also a mention of Henry Frankenstein, which, for those who remember, that was the name they gave Frankenstein, not the monster, but they gave it to Henry they named him Henry Frankenstein, the original 1930s Universal film, instead of calling him Victor Frankenstein. I think it was because of legal purposes, actually. So yeah, there's a great mention of Henry Frankenstein in here. There's a great reference to that. There's also mention of the modern Prometheus. There are some great little nods to past Frankenstein stuff. But yeah, again, this is this is more of an action film than anything else. There's also some just great dialogue, and again, they, especially Radcliffe and McAvoy, they sell the hell out of the scenes in here when it's just them talking about making the monster or just kind of palling around. You believe it. You honestly buy it. I think, again, McAvoy and Radcliffe really carry this film. Again, Charles Dance shows up, but it's not really long, and Andrew Scott, he's also a great actor in here. And yeah, but it's mostly, again, the main focus is, of course, obviously Victor and Igor, so they obviously had to sell that. All in all, I think it's a really good film. I think it's going to be underrated. It's not going to do well. I'm really afraid it's not going to do well in the box office because it has gotten it's gotten very little hype since it came out. Obviously there were very little TV spots. I didn't even know this film was coming out until August. That's how long. I didn't until I saw a trailer when I woke up one morning and saw a trailer for this film just by accident. That's how much little the marketing was for this film. And not to say, again, it's not a great film. There are some moments, again, with the Lorelei stuff, and they do, again, I think what really hurt this film was focusing too much on Igor and his love interest, which was admittedly boring. And I think if they did more with making the monster, that would have been a lot more interesting. And they do show making the monster and how they put some science into making said monster. Pseudoscience, mind you. But it's not enough, because they have to focus on the love interest, and I think that's what really hurt this film more than anything else. So, yeah. Again, I think that you're better off seeing this as a matinee, and, you know, give this movie some support. I mean, I know Spectre's obviously superior, and so is the Peanuts film, but I think this movie deserves some love. Again, matinee-worthy love, but yeah. So, all in all, not a bad film. 3 out of 5 at best. Yeah, 3 out of 5. So yeah, also another thing before I go, this film is not in continuity with the Dracula Untold and Universal films. This is actually under Fox. Yeah, it really messed me up too. I was like, this is Fox and not Universal? Huh. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.